All right. We are here for week 4 feature matches for Brothers War League. I'm here with Dan A. He's going to be looking at it from
Hello,
John
hello.
P's point of view. And I'm going to be watching Rafael here. So we got a high stakes match to start off the feature matches. This is actually an elimination match for Rafael, who's at 10 losses. So
Ah,
yeah, he's had a bit of a rough start to the league. So at unfortunately started off 3-10 so far, but now's as good a time as ever to try and turn it
win
around here
win
on the feature
17
match.
games in a row. It's very doable.
We've had people do things of that nature, maybe not 17 in a row, but like 17 out of 20 or something like that. But either way, John's going to start off here with a rare right away, immediately on turn 1, right after Raphael's mulligan. So I'm
Yeah,
sure he's
pretty good one too.
I'm sure he's not thrilled to see a rare on the other side, but he has a rare in his own hand. He can drop down in the Misery Shadow, but he's going to go for Scrapwork Mud instead here. So what's in John's hand over there? I know he was playing a black green deck the last I saw him
Um,
streaming.
so I like Prudence play to try and like bait out removal here because he does have the piece of removal and go for the throats. And then on 3, he can flash in Urza's Battle Hopter Liberator.
Oh, the Battle Thopter,
Um,
yeah.
I would say it's a shame that he's strouting lands, but he does have the sleeper to hopefully make use of that mana.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to be flooded, but if you have a card like Evolve Sleeper, that helps out usually.
Yeah, it could definitely be worse. What
Yeah,
about Imprudence?
yeah. So Raphael has a nice little assertive start here. Scrapwork Mud, Killzone Acrobat. He has a Misery Shadow in hand, an Energy Refractor, and then he has Mishra Claimed by Gix, which is the 4 mana Mythic, the one that has that extra meld text, but it's kind of a Hellrider effect when your creatures attack.
So we
You
have
want to get in for.
artifacts, synergy, sacrifice, and black red.
Yeah, that's kind of the black red thing that we've seen here. So he's just gonna get in for 3 here. He's gonna say, you know what, I just want to attack here. I just want
Let's
to get
see
in for
if
damage. John's not playing anything. Maybe he's just gonna pump mana into this evolved sleeper. Let's get some damage
yeah.
in. He's drawn an obliterating bolt and a Mishra's Juggernaut in the meantime here.
Oh, that's a great answer to sleeper or battlecopter.
Yeah, that Battle Thopter comes by surprise though. But
So he did draw a Thraxodemon here, but I
okay,
I think I like the idea of holding onto mana to try and get some value out of the sleeper if he does have removal in his hand.
all right. So he's not got another land yet, but he's got this. He's got another Energy Refractor. But yeah, so he's going to attack here, get in for 5. Looks like John's going to take it from what I can tell here.
I saw him flash over the go for the throat, so it looks like he's debating
Okay.
playing that.
Yeah, I mean, he could probably take it if and then play the Battle Thopter and then start to grow it with a go for the throat. But he's just gonna minimize the damage here.
It does feel bad not playing Thraxodemon out that turn as well, though.
Yeah, interesting that if he decided he was going to do that, maybe he decided after he passed that he didn't
Yeah.
want to take 5. Sometimes you make your decision after you've passed your turn. Right, so
Well,
here's
I
the
know a lot of
Thraxodemon.
players will sometimes like they'll like make a quote unquote mistake and they'll be too embarrassed to like reveal it. But
Yeah,
I'm like I think you should always just do the right play regardless, even if you're afraid of like showing your opponent that you didn't do something perfect.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm probably guilty of myself of that. It's like, oh, I made this mistake, and now I'm gonna cast this card post combat when it's clear like there's no reason I shouldn't have. I missed out on
Yeah.
some advantage or benefit, and now I'm just gonna hold it instead, like to try and save face. It's like, well, you could save face, or you could save your game and try and win that, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of 2 more lands in his hand, but I would say that would be a bad deal if he didn't have Cityscape Leveler at 8 that he can drop.
Oh, yeah, that's one of his. He has a few artifact big boys there. I know he has the Flesh Scorcher too. I saw him playing with that earlier today. So yeah, he's got some big stuff there. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the Evolved Sleeper to pump the mana into. Let's
Yeah, and
see.
he's going to be taking some beatings from this Misery Shadow
Yeah,
because that is quite the card.
yeah. So interesting attack here because if John has just about any instant here, he gets to eat the scrapwork mud, and
Yeah,
Raphael
Prudence
does. Raphael
saying,
doesn't
I
have any
call you on it.
instants. Yeah. So he's basically saying like, do you have an instant or not?
He's like, show it to me. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't even care if I lose this mud, right? Like, I'll recur it. Is
Well,
maybe what
like
he's
imagine
thinking.
if he had a removal spell for the Misery Shadow here, he'd just lose both of his
It would be
creatures for.
pretty brutal.
for no good reason. So John's gonna he says that this Battlethopter is not where it's at right now. It's a one
Oh
two, and
man,
I'm at 9, so I'm gonna trade it off here.
dang!
Uh,
Nothing but lands from John. Even if he gets this leveler off, I
yeah,
think it might be too
this
late.
Mishra is actually gonna force a block here.
Dang, that feels really bad.
Yeah, he's gonna force the block, and his thing's gonna get eaten. And I don't even think at 2 Cityscape Leveler is not even close to enough. You would need
Yeah.
a board wipe here, and even that wouldn't be it because Mishra's Juggernaut comes back from the graveyard. So this, we got
Unfortunately, not
this
enough
the land
action.
flood. Yeah, so Raphael missed out on a land for a couple times, but then he drew into the lands he needed, and he found what he played out his things, and John played lands. So yeah, bit of an unfortunate run out there. So looking at his deck here, he's got at this point in the league, it's not do you have great colorless rares. It's which
It's
ones and
which
how
ones?
many.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I see a Helm of the Host and Portal to Phyrexia, notably here
Oh wow,
among
those are
Raphael's
quite strong.
cards. Yeah,
I'm seeing just like pretty decent cards. Nothing that's super crazy other than the Battlecopter and the leveler that we saw. But I mean, black green is a pretty consistent color pairing. The fact that
yeah,
it's got recursion, it's got removal. It's not sexy, but it gets the job done.
yeah. I kind of in sealed. I always like. I lean a lot towards black green because it's like they shore up a lot of the weaknesses of other colors. Like they kind of, you can have ramp, you can have card draw, you can have big creatures, you can have efficient removal, you can recur stuff. It's like there's very little it doesn't do in the realm of
Hmm.
like covering all your bases. So
I did realize
it's
I
often a
did
good
miss
fallback.
the
Yeah,
I did miss his Flesh Gorger and his
yeah.
the Angel, the
Oh, he
Seraph.
has the Seraph too. Yeah, the Flesh Gorger I saw earlier today. So Raphael, like I said, aggressive red black deck. He's splashing a Skyfish or Spider with no actual green lands. So I guess he's hoping for
He must have enough rocks.
energy refractors, and perhaps some other rocks that filter colors. So he's got the classic land of 4 lands and 3 rares. So why not? There's a rare on the other side, Fauna Shaman. Yeah, so he's got the Misery Shadow, the Feldon, and then the Portal to Phyrexia if he gets up to 9,
Oh
and a
goodness!
Strongbow that he just drew. So what's John looking at over there?
I mean, a much nicer looking hand in terms of the fact that there's things to cast. We've got a Thraxodemon, Emergency Weld, Flesh Gorger, which it looks like he's just going to slam right away,
Yeah,
and the Gruesome Realization, the card that can either be a -1
yeah,
across the board or draw 2 cards.
yeah. So this Feldon is he's kind of just going to sit there for for the time being because he can't
Yeah,
block
no reason he
and
needs
he
to
can't
block.
attack. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
so
unless Prune's exceptionally desperate for cards, yeah, he's just going to be sitting
yeah,
around.
so John's going to be able to swing in here, get a nice life advantage, and put Raphael on the back foot at least life total wise here.
He does have a Bushwhack here, so I think what he's likely to do is because he did draw Go Blank for turn, so maybe he's either going to put down
Oh, go blank
Thraxodemon
here.
or search a land and then blink.
Yeah, so it was actually interesting. Right after his loss this afternoon, we were actually some of us discussing the pack choice in chat, and he did choose the pack of
Mm.
Strixhaven, and one of the cards that was mentioned was Go Blank. Um,
It's a great tech card,
it is very good. It is
given how much
like in
unearth is in this
Strixhaven,
set.
people weren't playing around that much with the graveyard. I know sort of the lore hold mechanic was sort of part of the lore hold theme was getting cards out of the graveyard, but for the most
Yeah.
part, it was just a mind rot with small upside. But I remember I opened it in Crimson Vow League,
Mm.
where graveyards were just like a
For
second
sure. All
hand,
that disturb. Yeah.
and yeah, that was very very useful, and I assume it will be useful here too. With people self milling on Earth, all the recursion. Yeah, so that was one of the
Looks like
things that made him lean towards that pack. I think he's just gonna
I
draw
think
the
he
first.
agrees with you because he realizes I can get extra value out of this Go Blank later once he's got stuff in the grave. Why don't I just draw cards and
All
chill
right.
for a little bit?
Does John have anything to stop a Helm of the Host? Because
He
Raphael's just
he
drawn that.
did draw Power Stone Fracture, which I think destroys artifacts as well. If
No,
I or no, I think it's
it'll
just
only hit a
creatures.
creature or planeswalker, but you can
Hmm.
sacrifice an artifact or
Gotcha,
a creature.
gotcha.
Yeah. All
Another
right.
great card in Knight of Dusk Shadow that John just picked
Okay.
up.
Yeah. That's a nice 2 drop from the last set DMU.
Of course, he does have access to any card in his deck with Fauna Shaman,
Yeah.
or at least any
So
creature card.
yeah, Fauna Shaman is
A
really
house.
good, really
Yeah.
strong card. If you ever get it with Clay Revenant, it's just a 4 mana tutor any creature on the turn.
Oh,
But
that's quite an interesting combo.
yeah, if you have a bunch of mana, you're just paying 4 mana to tutor any creature turn after turn.
So we could actually search out Skyfish or Spider as a answer to it later, because I did not realize this Spider gets rid of any permanent, any
Yeah,
non-land
yeah.
permanent.
So you have to sack a creature, but it'll
Hmm.
destroy any non-land permanent. It's like these cards have so many words on them. Like can you sack an artifact to this guy? No. Can you kill an artifact? Yes. It's like
I like this decision here because he says, I got a stronger board than you, I think. I just need to worry about something that you might play. I'm just going to take this as some security.
yeah, and he's just gonna play this emergency wild, and he's just gonna get rid of this misery shadow here.
Yeah,
That card is
makes sense to me.
yeah, that card's just a menace to deal with. So
Also allows him to swing in for 3
so
here.
Rafael does have an emergency weld, but he doesn't have another swamp, so he wouldn't be able to play it and get it back. So his play this turn is either going to be the Helm of the Host or the Visions of Phyrexia he just drew. So when you're at 10 losses, you got lots of rares.
What? Visions of Phyrexia is the,
if you thought some of the decks we've seen so far with 4, 5, 6 losses had lots of rares, well, here we
that's
are.
the value engine that like exiles things,
Yeah,
right?
it's the red enchantment. Yeah. All right. So there's a decision of which card he wants to play out. Um,
I mean, it's definitely something I would think about for sure, because Helm
yeah.
can often be a trap if your opponent is holding removal to deal with it, which he can see in his hand.
Yeah, so he sees the Skyfisher. So either one is probably going to get hit by the Skyfisher, right? So like if he plays Helm of the Host, it's going to get hit. If he plays Visions, it's going
Hmm.
to get hit. I think he just has to decide which one he's okay with dying. Yeah, he's thinking about just emergency welding back his Misery Shadow, but he can't cast it. So it's like I think you just have
Well,
to. I think you just have to let one of your 4 drop rares here
mhm. just
get
just to
eaten.
try to get some,
Yeah, because
get it out of the way.
I think emergency weld for a misery shadow that you can't cast is just a little too weak here.
It would be too slow and yeah, not a great use of his
Yeah.
mana for the
So he's
turn.
chosen the Visions of Phyrexia because at least even if it dies right away, he got a Power Stone out of it, which I mean, it's better than getting absolute nothing. So he'll have a Power Stone left behind to work with if it
Yeah, and
gets
if I'm
killed.
John, I have the interesting query of like I have Go Blink, so I can get rid of cards in my opponent's hand, but I mean that Vision Step Phyrexia is just going to give him extra resources. So it looks like he is going to take the bait. I mean, it's still a great thing to remove.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's take the bait. I would say it's he's
Yeah,
killing that card that is a threat. But John probably has to be thinking maybe there's something better lurking, right? Why would he run out this rare into the known spider? John's probably thinking there's maybe something scarier, but doesn't know what it is yet.
he
Um,
also does have the reassurance of knowing that he does have a second spider in deck, and Fauna Shaman's still in the battlefield.
okay. Yeah, okay, so he can just go get more spiders.
If he really needed,
Yeah,
yeah,
Fauna Shaman is quite a
it's
card.
so good.
Yeah, so he's getting these little free attacks with Feldon, which is nice because John doesn't want to give
Yeah,
him
John
access
does
to more
not want to give
cards.
him anything.
So it looks like he milled an energy refractor, a land, and I didn't catch the other card. It was a red card, but no creature. But ooh, okay, yeah. So now
Maybe
he's got
go
the go
straight
blank
for it.
here. Um, hmm.
And if you're prudent, I think I might just. I guess I could wait until my
Okay, so
Giggle
he's gonna
dies and then.
he's thinking big here. He's keeping the portal to Phyrexia. So he's
Oh, he's got the portal in hand. Oh
yeah,
yeah,
he's thinking big here. He's
that is
saying,
very big.
I could cast Helm of those next turn, but forget that. Let's go really, really big. All right, well, step one. Step one is another land.
I mean,
So,
you hate seeing sleeper here if you're prudent because it's like we're at a
yeah,
stalemate, but that card can just accrue card
yeah.
advantage if we don't do anything.
Here comes Felden. Look at this, just a nice, just free 2 damage every turn because he doesn't want to let him draw cards. So what's
Still
John's
not
last
like
card
at
here?
least
I guess
eight.
it's a creature he has no interest in.
Yeah, he's churning it in for something much better.
So at 6 mana, he's going to get his best 6 mana play, which is the Seraph. He
Hmm.
can start giving things flying. He can give the Seraph lifelink. Yeah, this game's gonna actually end, you know, very quickly here.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense. He chooses to give flying to the menace lifelink worm.
yeah, So he's gonna have that flying, and the next turn he's gonna have an 8 flying, which is gonna be lethal. So
Phyrexia is 9 mana too, right?
yeah, he's still one away. So he okay. So he drew Power Stone Fracture here just in the nick of time
Okay.
to get this angel off the board. But he's still under siege here with a creature that can't block and a bunch of damage staring down at him.
He
Uh,
does opt to get rid of Feldon. I like that.
it, yeah,
He recognizes that his win con at this point is basically lands back to back. Let's see if he can live long enough to
yeah. So
make
an
it.
attack all here is actually just going to be. It's not. It wasn't. It wasn't lethal, was it?
I don't think so. I think
No, he
he
could
blocked
have.
two
Yeah, he
things.
could have blocked the spider with the 3/4, and then the evolved sleeper with the other creature, and he would have taken 5 and gone to 1. But yeah,
I mean, he
he.
probably recognizes that even if he does draw a land or like the best card in his deck, he's at 1 life there with no creatures on the board.
Yeah,
It's equivalently like
I
game
mean,
over.
look, I didn't memorize his deck, but I guess he figured. I guess he knows. I don't have a board wipe or anything, so let's just move it on to the next game. So it's like he's thinking about. Okay, looks like he's thinking about taking out Emergency Weld.
After seeing the go blink, I would
No,
be
it's
tempted to do
just
the same.
yeah, it's just one card. So he's bringing in an Unleashed Shell here. He has 3 in his sideboard, which he's just gonna bring in 1 here. So
Um,
any sideboarding decisions there for John or
he opts to take out one of his two Gix caresses. I think it's a card that is always less good on the draw since he knows that he is going to be on the draw this round. But other than that, he says, "I'm happy with my deck. I'm going to go
yeah.
into this next game."
Yeah, so Rafael just put in 1 Unleashed Shell, which is it's interesting. I find that there's some players who just will always play those 5 mana red removals, and there's some players who will just like they just never want them. They just say like it's just too inefficient nowadays based on how good cards were. Like 5 years ago, we always played them. Now
Right.
it's like the creatures have just gotten so much better, and that effect has not gotten better. We're not getting more for 5 mana than we did a few years ago.
I think it's a
So
great card. I mean, instant speed, damage to
yeah.
face, burn the accursed was pretty good in the set it was in. If anything, it's just hard to cast in non main red decks.
Yeah, because I've seen a couple of times, like particularly in mega drafts, where there's like almost one in every set. We've seen a couple of times just drafters who are just like completely uninterested by all of them, just like never wanted to take them, and we're playing red, and just like always we're passing over them. So all right, so what's in John's hand here as
So John's sitting on Battle
getting
Thopter
attacked
at
for 1?
3, a Spider, Overwhelming Remorse, Emergency Weld, and he picked up a Shoot Down for the turn. So it looks like
So
his
it's got 2
play
kill
here is
spells.
flashing in the Thopter. Yeah, he does have 2 kill spells,
Yeah,
and the Spider does represent, a potential kill on any non-permanent.
yeah. So Raphael's got the Gigamole here, which is gonna find him a Scrapwork Mutt. Though I'm sure he would have liked that obliterating bolt and potentially even the dreams of steel and oil that he milled. He does have an excavation explosion in hand, so he can get rid of that Thopter if he needs to. And even though he doesn't have a red land, the Hall of Tagsin has that unknown shores filtering effect.
Oh, does it? I thought it was just
Yeah,
making Power Stones. That's a
no,
better land than I gave it credit for.
no, it has that the unknown shores. I call it unknown shores, but pay 1, tap it, or
Yeah.
pay 1 and tap it, and you get any color,
So he picked up a Go for the Throat for the
but
turn,
no lands.
but no lands. So he's kind of locked into. Maybe he could have sacked the Lantern to go for the land, but you don't even really want to be playing Spider or Shoot Down in that situation anyway.
Oh, I'm just like deathly afraid of not hitting my land drops, and I don't see what I don't see what a Soul Guide Lantern's going to get you better than just trying to find your land
I
here.
mean, you and me both.
I'm a safe player in that regard, but
Ah,
I guess John did decide to do it now, but yeah,
okay. Here's the fourth land.
all right, so he's gonna get going here. Yeah, so left in hand for Raphael, aside from the Scrapwork Mud, which is visible to John, he has a Go for the Throat, which he just drew, and then he has that Portal of Phyrexia still there. Like it's it's hanging out from the last game. I think it just
I mean,
It just stayed in
With
his hand. It
John's
just
hand, we're gonna go late. So I
yeah.
mean, he's just holding on to a bunch of removal pieces. He doesn't really want to like get out the spider. So I think it's quite likely that we'll see Portal
Okay.
drop this game,
So
unless
interesting. Raphael's decided not to cast his scrapwork man. I think he's just going to start producing power stones here if John's not doing anything. He says a
that
power
makes
stone is
total
better than a two
sense.
one, right? A
You're
power
not doing
stone.
anything.
Yeah,
I'm gonna ramp to my 9 drop. Why not?
yeah I mean, if there's nothing in play, the portal to Phyrexia is not going to be as good. Right, so Raphael's drawn his Skyfisher Spider here, which he can cast with the Hall of Tyxon eventually. But
They're having a Skyfish spider off, just waiting for either player to play something relevant to kill.
yeah, I could just see him making another Power Stone here. Like he's pretty happy just sitting back if John's doing nothing. He's got the trump card here.
Yeah, I feel like I know where the next 3 turns are going.
So Raphael's he's mousing. Okay, he is gonna cast the Scrapwork Mud. So he's gonna dump. If I had to guess, the Unleash Shell here, the card that he
Yeah,
sided in.
he's
So he took out an
off for double
emergency weld.
red.
So would an emergency weld be more useful here? Like probably than the Unleash Shell
Probably.
because he has Feldon in the graveyard. So yeah, so he's decided on Unleash Shell. He's drawn a mountain, so that
Okay.
so uh, he's at 7 now total. So
And
he's
he's going to make one end
yeah,
phase. Yeah.
yeah. So drawing a land here actually lets him make another one. So if he draws a land, he actually could play it next turn, which
Yeah, John
is
does opt to
pretty
put on a
impressive.
little pressure and get out the Thopter. I mean, I guess it
Yeah,
makes no
but I mean,
doesn't
it's
no
not
reason not
pressure
to.
yet. I mean, it'll grow to be pressure, and
This is a brutal draw.
oh, okay. Um, I think Raphael's going to do the same thing he did last game, which
Right.
is discard the two things that are not portal. Yep, there you go. Though he won't be reanimating any of his creatures that were in the graveyard with the portal.
And I don't think we have. I think there might be one creature in John's graveyard.
Okay, so here's a Visions to Phyrexia, which is actually going to guarantee him the portal next turn because it's going to give him another Power Stone here. So yeah, portal to Phyrexia. It's but you said John had a shoot down, right?
He's got a shoot down. He's got 2 spiders as well.
Yeah, so the portal to Phyrexia is gonna wipe out John's creatures, but it's not gonna do anything past that. It seems
He's
like
got the perfect answers here.
yeah. So all this hype about the portal is well, it gets to kill two things, but
I
have
mean, this looks good if you're prudent. You're like, I can't wait to reanimate your Thopter, your spider,
yeah,
but
I'm
unfortunately,
not
he won't get to see that trigger.
I'm not quite certain how you shoot down an entire portal that is bringing
A
monsters across the multiverse here, but
really large arrow.
yeah, this is a atomic arrow, perhaps. Yeah, so John's left with what you said in hand, just more
So, I
removals.
mean, he's got relevant cards here. He's got Spider, Overwhelming Remorse, and Gaia's Gift.
And we
But
got a
what a
nice
great
top deck
top deck
here.
from
Yeah,
Prudent. I
yeah,
mean, that's killer here.
yeah. Top deck a 6 power haste, so he's gonna have to go and kill that, and he's gonna have to keep taking damage from these other little creatures here, I guess.
He did draw Tome for the turn, so at least he's got a way to make use of his mana here. But I
Ace 9
mean,
tome. Yeah.
he's going to be on facing lethal next turn. Scrying a land at the
Oh,
bottom.
he's actually gonna be even
Wow.
more close to dead because he's going to 1 here.
If I'm John, I am like, give me a break, man.
Yeah, so a late Mishra in both in both the first game and this game seemed to be yeah. So he's smartly set a little upkeep stop here to see if he can find something to deal with all of this since everything's lethal.
Nope, just another land.
Yeah, Skyfisher Spider doing nothing. Yeah.
So
So
he could like,
yeah, Raphael
yeah,
with
man,
the nice little
crazy.
scrappy little aggro deck here that can also go late game. We saw with the portal, he stays alive and keeps his march going here. So good job,
I mean,
congratulations to Raphael for the win here, staying alive on his elimination match, and best of luck to him going forward.
maybe we'll
And
see him next week, hopefully.
yeah, maybe so. Yeah, and we'll be back a bit later with next match.